Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you might be able to tell, I would like to repot my Philodendron Esmeraldense. I have tried to put it in the shot here. It's pretty difficult because I've got so much behind me, and she's massive, so she's pushed right back here to try and get this beautiful new leaf in the frame. But yeah, I think she's due for a repot. Because she's drying out quite quickly and there is a big root coming out the bottom which keeps rotting. It's happened before, there was a root coming out the bottom and I've had to chop it, and there's another one which we'll check out now and hope it's not rotted. But yeah, I think it could do with a repot. So let me try and show you this plant. Not really sure how. So this is the most recent leaf. Here you may be able to see, let me try and bring it a bit closer now you've seen the big leaf. Okay, so this is a new leaf. Can you see? Absolutely no idea. This is a new leaf it's putting out, which I'm hoping is going to be big. It looks pretty big. This was the leaf before that, and then we've got this one around here, and then there's a couple of smaller ones on here, this one, and there's actually one right around here, which maybe you can see. Let me try and turn it. Just decided to face the total wrong direction compared to all the other plants. This is the first, it's either the first one it put out, no, I think I might have chopped the first one it put out for me off. Anyway, this is the bottom leaf on the plant now. It did have its mother leaf on until very, very recently, which I've had this plant for well over a year now, and this big old leaf outgrew it. But that was the biggest leaf on the plant for a long time, and I just kind of decided it got a bit yellow, and I'd left it on there for quite a long time and it got progressively more yellow, and I just thought, you know what, that doesn't need to be on there anymore, let's just chop that off. So I've done that. This plant is not on the top of its moss pole. The moss pole does need water though, if you can see that. I really like this plant for that reason. Look how many leaves there are on here, and we're still on one pole, and we've still got, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches left on that pole. So I love that plant for that reason, as opposed to, if you saw my last video, assuming this is going to go up next, my Splendid. Absolutely huge. I don't think you can see it. I've had to move it up. I don't even know if it's going to show on camera, so maybe I won't, but if it's coming off at all, here, this plant, if you can see, is the top cut of my Splendid. And that, I think it had 5 leaves on it, if I'm remembering correctly, and it had 2 poles. Because the internodal spacing is just big on that plant, whereas this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's pushing out another one, and it's just on the one pole, with still room to spare. So for that reason, this plant is brilliant, because I do not like extending moss poles. If you are familiar with this plant, I've just seen the root and it's looking good, I think, thank goodness. If you're familiar with this plant, let me try and, oh, here we go. There is a little fern that lives in the bottom of the moss pole, which I did not plant. I don't know if you'll be able to see because I think the actual stem is in the way, but if you look there, hopefully you've seen that little tiny fern, which is very, very cute. I didn't plant that there, I don't know how it got there, but it lives there. So, okay. That is the root. As you can see, it is nice and white and healthy. I'm just going to try and put this down without snapping it. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I think it's just due for a repot. I was going to say I haven't repotted it for a while. I have repotted it semi-recently, but it's just drying out really, really quickly. So I think it's due. So what I'll do is I'll move you down so you can get a better look at what I'm doing. I'm really excited to see the roots on this. I love this plant so much. So hopefully it's got some really good healthy roots on it. And then in terms of a pot size up, okay. In terms of a pot size up, let me just grab them. I've got a couple of different options. The first option is this one. Actually, I think that's going to be fine. Yeah, because I've got a bigger one, but actually I didn't realise how much. Okay, I'll show you when they're empty, but that's actually quite a big size up. may or may not be a problem in terms of pot covers, but we will get there. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be moving the camera angle, 1 second. Okay, so now you can see the pot. I don't know how I'm going to do this, so I'm going to be really careful with this root. The moss pod's also dry because I just thought it'd kind of be easier to do this when it was dry. Don't really know why I thought that, but I did. The plant, yeah, it could do with another few days, but as I'm repotting, I'll water anyway. But if I was just looking to see whether this plant needed water or not, I'd probably give it a couple more days, even though the top layer is completely dry. I can feel by the weight of it, it's not quite ready for a watering yet. I'm slightly nervous about this because I don't want to upset the plant. I'm just going to give it a squeeze first. I'm hoping this is going to be a really easy job, but I'm not actually convinced. What I'm going to do is move that root around there and then lay it over this way. I think that's probably better. Right. Let's see what we're dealing with. Okay. Ooh. Try not to get soil all over the floor as usual. Okay. So, yeah, looking pretty good. I think, yeah, due for a repot. Not too bad. I've definitely seen worse. I don't know what that side is like that I'm showing you. Yeah, it's pretty much like that all the way around. This has got a lot of lecker in the bottom. I remember when I potted it, the pot was quite big for the plant at the time. So I did put quite a lot of lecker in the bottom, but it seems to be fine. I think I'm not actually going to, I'm kind of doing this, but I'm thinking I'm not going to mess with the roots too much. I'm just going to try and pull bits off the top because just where the perlite always rises to the top. I'm sure you will be familiar with if you use perlite in your potting mix. Try and get that off and then we can mix it back in. But yeah, I'm just going to literally put that in the pot that it's going to go in and hopefully it's going to stay there. That is very dodgy. No, it's so dodgy it's not going to work. How about that? Okay, perfect. Hang on, that was really silly because now it's in the pot that I need. I've got another one that's the same size. Let's grab that. Or just do this one, it's literally the exact same size. I think. Yeah, it's the exact same size, so that's fine. We will fill this one up. So what I'm going to do is fill the bottom with lecker. No idea what size this is. This is the comparison, so this is a huge size up. I don't necessarily recommend doing this, particularly at this time of year, but I'm going to because I have nothing in between these two sizes. And I think it can handle it, like the plant is so big. I will just be very aware of that when I'm watering and not overwater it. Right, so my battery's dying. I'm going to do that and then fill this up with lecker and then we will get to the repotting. Right, I've just got my soil bin because obviously I'm going to need more than this, and I've bought all of my stuff from the shed. I feel like I'm always saying in my videos, oh I should have got all this stuff from the shed, but I haven't gone and got it. But I actually have gone and got it today. So I have my huge thing from Soil Ninja. That is their base mix, which obviously I'm going to be using as a base for this soil mix. And then I also have some activated charcoal, some zeolite, some bark, and what is that? Pumice, some pumice. I'm going to use this as well, which is what came out of there, but I'm just going to leave that there and we'll put that in at some point. But yes, I'm doing this repot. I'm doing a lot of repotting today. So I got everything from the shed so I can not run out of supplies halfway through, which would be great. I usually put lecker straight in my soil mix as well, but I'm not going to be doing that simply because I'm running out of lecker. So I'm going to kind of reserve it for the drainage at the bottom of the pots. So I usually do that as well. Obviously this is going to have some lecker in because that came from the bottom of the pot that it came out of, so that's absolutely fine just to have something a bit chunkier in there. Let's start with that and we'll see how we go. So we'll do the pumice next. So I'm just basically making a chunky mix. that something like a philodendron would appreciate. We hope. So that's the, is that the pumice? Yeah. Eyeball it, I'm not doing anything special. Bark, I'm going to try and use quite a bit of bark because I think it's going to appreciate a barky mix. The mix that it was in was Soil Ninja and Leca. I think that's all I had at the time when I repotted. So hopefully it's going to really appreciate this. Oh my goodness, I've just chucked bark everywhere. Yeah, hopefully it's going to really enjoy this mix that I'm making now. I'm going to mix it all up and then I can always add to it if I'm not happy with the consistency. So let's do a little bit of activated charcoal. Not too much. About that much. And zeolite as well. So these I believe are all the coarse, except the bark. I think the bark is the fine bark. I don't know if it actually says on... I don't think it says. I think that's the fine bark. Maybe it's not though, right? It's quite chunky. Not 100% sure. And zeolite. So now I'm literally just going to mix all of this up, which I do very much enjoy doing. I think for a philodendron you could actually go even chunkier than this, but I just don't have anything other than the leca that I obviously need. Yeah, I think probably I'm going to need a bit more bark. I mean, it's not bad, but I think just a bit chunkier. Because it's a big plant as well, if the plant was a bit smaller I wouldn't be so worried. But because it's a big plant, I think the roots are getting quite big and are going to appreciate chunkier things in here. And also it's really, really good for the aeration of the roots as well. Roots very much need oxygen, which is why it's important to add things to your soil mix that will allow the airflow. So I think that's about right. Again, it could be chunkier, but I'll try and show you. Could be chunkier, but that's going to be absolutely fine. Let's put that down there. And hopefully I won't make too much mess when I'm putting this plant up. Right, I think I probably should have done this on the floor, but I'm set up with a table now, so I'm just going to go with it. No, I don't need the plant, I need the pot, which I have put leca in about, I don't know, like maybe a centimetre or two in the bottom. I'm going to just put that in there to get out of the way really. I think I'm going to need to backfill this quite a lot because this pot is quite a lot bigger than the one that's come out of. So I'm going to just start filling the pot up. Yeah, I reuse all my soil unless obviously like something has a pest or it's a soil mix I don't want to use anymore. I don't worry about anything like that. I've always done it. I fertilise, so I think it's fine. Okay, right. Try and grab this monster of a plant. That root can go in there. I think I'll need a little bit more in the bottom. So that's fine. I don't want to overdo it. Yeah, I think that's good because I want there to be some room at the top of the pot because it's just annoying when you fill right to the top because then there's like when I water I like to kind of like fill the thing with water so it all gets completely soaked, and if you've planted to the top you can't do that. So what I'm going to do is put the pole right to the back. Should I do that? Maybe I should just kind of put it a bit further forward. Yeah, I think I will because there's some roots back here. So if I put it a little bit further forward so I can get some soil down the back. And then yeah, just fill in. This has been such like this has been on my list to do for quite a long time. Not that it's an urgent job, I've just been aware that it needs doing, and it's not even that much of a big deal. I think just because it's a big plant, it feels like a really big job, and it's not. I mean, I think one of the other reasons I was putting it off is because obviously this is quite a lot bigger, so is it going to fit in the same space that it came out of? Possibly not, which will be a problem, but I'll have to figure it out because I can't just keep my plants in too small pots because I can't fit them in. It always amazes me how much the soil goes down when you do that. And I prefer to do that rather than push where I can. I might have to push it a little bit to get it to stand up straight. But it's better to do that because it kind of all falls into place without, as I was saying, filling up all those gaps in there that the roots will actually quite like to have. Oh, okay. Right, a bit more at the back, and then I think we're done. It's a really awkward plant because you can't see, but like the whole thing is leaning that way because it sits here against this window, so it wants to reach over there, so it's kind of pulling it that way, but I might just have to squash this side a little bit to try and get that to stay in there. Whether it will or not, I don't know, but the roots will come in, it'll be absolutely fine. It's not like it's going to pull out of there. So can I actually show you this plant now it's done? Obviously it doesn't look any different, but if you can see where I'm bringing it down, you can see what I mean by they're all over that way. You've just got this random one over here, and then the big leaf is, there we go, there. So that is such a beautiful plant. I really, really love it. Very pleased to have it in my collection. Hopefully that has now set it up really, really well for the growing season. I should, when I say growing season, I mean 2025 growing season. I should say I have no issue repotting in the winter. I think if plants are growing, then they can be repotted. I know some people don't like to do it, and that's fine, but I always have, and I can't see that changing, so that's obviously why I'm repotting now, because I don't have an issue with it. So I'm just going to move this plant and then we'll move on to the next big plant I have planned to do the repot on today. Right, so the second plant I'd like to get to today is this one. This is my Philodendron Patriciae. Another one of my favourite plants. It needs dusting really badly, if you can see that, so I will get to that. But it's growing really, really nicely. I got this Christmas time last year, so I've literally had this plant about a year now. I think this one was an original leaf, but I think the other originals, oh no, okay, so that one, can you see? That one and this one are originals. This is the first one, I'm trying to hold it. This is the first one it put out for me, or maybe this one, I don't know, one of these two small ones. And then since then it has been putting out some really big ones, so I think after that was this one. And then it's given me this one, and you can probably see it's got this very new leaf on it, which hasn't even hardened off yet, so I'm going to be very careful. But that leaf is just absolutely stunning. I love this plant. I really like long leaves like this. I am absolutely in love with my Anthurium vitarifolium. I just really, really like this leaf shape. I think it's so cool. So yeah, this one, same thing. It's basically drying out really quickly. It's in, I think it's literally in the same size pot as the Esmeraldense was. And the same thing with the roots coming out the bottom. Not so badly, but it did happen. It was literally the same thing. They came out the bottom and they kind of rotted, and I've had to cut them off. So there's a few leaves coming out the bottom now. And just to avoid that situation again, I just thought let's just repot. It's going to be going into the same pot size as the Esmeraldense did. So again, pretty big size up. I will just obviously potentially change that if the roots aren't very good, but we'll see what happens. And again, I've left this quite dry so that I just find it easier to repot plants when they're dry, and then it's kind of easier to be able to water them in as well, I think. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So maybe we won't be repotting. Have these rotted? No, I think they're just... Oh, they have. No. Okay, right, let's get one of those. That is not good. So these roots here, a lot of these secondary roots are rotten. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Okay, so even though we're not going to be repot, well, yeah, see, okay, so I'm going to try and do that on camera so you can see what just happened. So I just grabbed hold of a root, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but the outer sheath has literally just come off. If you want to know what root rot looks like, it's literally that. So this will now just pull away the outer sheath of the root, and it's just left behind this really hair-like root. See if I can do it again on camera. Hopefully it's focusing. Oh, that was just completely pulled off. But yeah, that is a very typical symptom of root rot. I don't know if any more of them are going to do it now. I should have done that one on camera. There we go. Hopefully you saw the beginning of that one. It kind of came away. That is root rot, which basically means I've watered this plant when it wasn't ready and it's rotted the roots. So really glad I caught that, and I'm kind of thinking like the plant's handling it okay because it's pushing out that leaf, but yeah, we're going to need to address this. Again, trying to be really careful with that new leaf. Just sit there. Okay, right, don't roll. Where are my cutters? Here. Okay, so yeah, I just need to very carefully snip all these roots off. That's really frustrating because I love this plant. Yeah, a lot of them are just rotten. The first thing that made me think it was root rot was because of the colour of the roots. If you can see this one down here, hopefully it's picking up, that's a nice orangey kind of colour. And I mean, roots do go darker over time, just older roots do go darker. But I don't know, I think when you've dealt with root rot before, you kind of just can spot it, and that is very much root rot. So I think I'm just going to spend some time chopping anything that looks suspect, because I don't want to leave any rot on this plant. I mean, inevitably I will, I'm probably not going to get all of it off. But yeah, I'm just going to spend some time snipping off rot. So my memory card has been extremely helpful and has just wiped the footage that I just took. Essentially I just potted the plant back up in this mix. I put loads of leca in the bottom. I chopped off not too many roots because there wasn't a lot of roots on there, to be honest. I was quite shocked at how little roots there were. But I've chopped off as much rot as I can. And I've just potted it back up. I was just saying that I'm not going to water this plant now. One, because the soil that came out of it is not too dry. It's not wet, but it's definitely not dry. And secondly, because obviously I've just chopped those roots, so I don't want to add water to this because that's just going to encourage rot. So this is what it's looking like, obviously exactly the same as it looked before I started, in the same pot. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this one, keep a really close eye on it and hope for the best. It has, can't remember which bit of footage I said this in, so I don't know if I've just said this or if this got lost, but it has rooted into the pole, which is obviously a really good thing if you do suffer with things like root rot and you've got a moss pole or something like that, because you can snip and you've already basically air layered, so the plant's already started on making some new roots. One thing I have just realised is I really need to water this pole, and I don't want to water the plant, so I might just get my sprayer and just kind of try and moisten this a little bit, because my plan was to like totally drench the whole thing once I'd repotted, but I'm not going to be doing that now. So that one is done, and then my next plant I have decided I'm going to do, even though I probably shouldn't do it, is my Patriciae, and the reason I probably shouldn't do it is because it's pushing out a new leaf. But I really want to do it. It's also going to be a slight problem because it's not going to fit where it is once I've repotted it, but I really want to do it. So I think I'm just going to ignore logic and just do it and hope for the best. If I damage that leaf, I'm going to be really cross with myself, but I'm going to be really careful. So I'm just going to go and grab it and then we'll make a start on that one. Right, so this is my Patriciae. I'm going to struggle to show you because it's very long. But this is kind of what it's looking like. This is the length of the leaves. They are huge. And I haven't had this plant very long. It's given me all of this growth. When I got it, the leaves were this kind of size. And yeah, they have seriously grown since then. Absolutely love this plant. It's one of my favourites. And it's pushing out this new leaf. Hopefully you can see there, and I only just realised since I picked this plant up now that it's also working on a flower. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that because it was putting out a flower before and it just promptly aborted it, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I need to just repot this one, same kind of reasons, drying out really quickly, and I'm quite excited because I know people say that Anthuriums are really happy to be put in quite a big pot, and I'm hoping it might promote some more growth because that'll be amazing. So the pot I'm going to put it in is this one. This is quite a size up, but I think it's going to be fine, and I'm really excited about it being a clear pot because I really want to see what the roots are doing in there. Yeah, I like seeing the roots anyway, but Anthurium roots are just like so chunky, and I don't know, I just want to be able to see what it's doing. So I'm going to, actually no, let's unpot the plant first. Let's see what's going on. Again, trying to be really careful because I do not want to upset this new leaf. This plant actually had a rough time. I dropped it quite catastrophically, and it like completely took the growth point off, and I freaked out just thinking I'd killed it. Like, not killed it, but I was really cross with myself because I was putting out a new leaf and it just literally like sheared off the growth point. But it's fine, so that is good. I am looking at this thinking maybe it doesn't need a repot. Wow, that's the kind of theme of the video, I think. So interesting. But it's drying out so quickly. Maybe it's just the heating. I just didn't think that the heating would be affecting the plants too much because it's not this room. We don't have the radiator on very much in this room at all. I'm just pulling off one of those stupid bug plant things. I can just see bits of it sticking out, so I'm just pulling it as I'm talking to you. But yeah, maybe it doesn't need a repot because it's not looking too bad in here. But then again, maybe I'll give it a little repot. Maybe it can have, I don't know, does it even need a repot? I don't know. And is this plant, I mean, that pot, it has kind of outgrown that pot, but is it big enough to go into this pot? I don't know. I do not know. I think I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to make sure it's in a really chunky mix and not overwater it. So I'm going to again put leca in the bottom. So I've put quite a lot of leca in there for obvious reasons, just to increase that drainage. And then what I'm going to do is the soil mix that I just made up for the philodendrons. I'm going to basically just add a lot more bark. So I'm going to take that in here and then put in, I don't know about equal parts, but quite a lot of bark. Possibly not the best pot to mix it up in because there's no room for mixing now. But yeah, Anthurium like a very chunky mix because their roots are, I don't know if I even showed you the roots, that was rude of me. Here we go. There. So you can see they're very healthy, they've got nice white roots on here, but you can see, well, I don't know if you can see because there's leaves in the way, but like here, look how chunky that root is. So basically the chunkier the root, the chunkier the compost needs to be. That's how I kind of work things. So I think something like that, assuming that's mixed quite well, I think it has. Maybe a touch more compost. Something like that. I don't know how well it's going to come off. Hide my face so hopefully it'll focus. But yeah, very barky. I've possibly put too much in there. Let's have a look. No, I think that's fine. Okay. So I'm just going to maybe a tiny bit too much. I'll take a bit out. There, that's perfect. Right. So I'm just going to leave that there and then fill in around the edges. It would be easier if I had a scoop, but I don't. Right, so I'm going to need more, that's fine, I can make up some more. But yeah, I think that kind of consistency is quite good. So let's do that again. The reason I was so keen to get this repot done is because I didn't want to use all my bark, because I know I will, and I won't necessarily replace it straight away, because I try, like, I've got quite a lot of amendments at the moment on the go, which I don't like having because it just takes up so much space. So that's why I think that's one of the reasons I'm quite keen to get all my big plants potted up, my sort of like really special ones, so that I can use all of the fancy amendments for them, and then once it's used up, it's used up, and I probably won't repurchase things like the bark and the zeolite and the activated charcoal until they kind of need repotting again, and then if there's any lucky plants afterwards that can have the leftovers, then that's fine. But I generally just don't have this kind of stuff on hand all the time because it takes up too much space and it's really expensive. It's not really expensive, I'm not like, I like Soil Ninja and I want to support them, but I have got 300 houseplants. I can't use this for all of them. I use their base mix for all of them, and that's pretty much all I do. Occasionally I add in leca depending on the plant, and assuming I've got some, because obviously at the moment I don't. I would absolutely love to use this kind of mix for all of my plants and be able to add in all of these amendments, because I think it's brilliant. And if you do that, then like, well done, and I'm sure your plants are extremely happy. But I can't afford to use all of this for my 300 houseplants because I think it would be absolutely ridiculous. That's just me. Maybe you have more disposable income than I do and you're happy to prioritise your plant's soil. I'd love to be able to do it, but I can't. So yeah, this is kind of like generally how I work it. When my big plants need a repot, the ones that I really, really love, I go on and I do an order for all of the special stuff that I want to use for them. And then it runs out, and that's just how it goes. Right, okay, so I think that is good. Obviously it looks exactly the same, but the plant's got a bit more room. I've managed to do that without damaging that leaf, which I am thrilled with myself about, although I feel like I've spoken too soon. I need to like put it down before I should say things like that. But no, really love this plant, highly recommend it. I know a lot of people have the Philodendron and they swear by that one. I don't hear many people talk about the Patriciae as much as the Philodendron, but I mean I can't necessarily compare them because my Philodendron is absolutely tiny, so that's something I'm really looking forward to, is getting that plant going. and then having like a side-by-side comparison of these two. But yeah, absolutely no complaints as far as I'm concerned about this one. And I like, if you don't know the difference, one of them, well, from my point of view, one of the main differences appearance-wise, that is so dusty, I really need to sort that out. One of the main differences appearance-wise is the Vitara folium, the leaves kind of gradually, so it's kind of this part, the petiole kind of leads into the leaf like that, whereas the Philodendron, you have the petiole and then it kind of goes immediately out into the leaf, like the not the lobes, but it's much rounder up here, I would say. And then there are other differences as well. I think the Philodendron is more, velvety. Don't take my word on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way around it is. That one's more velvety. But this one, like the texture of it is, I really like it. It's not particularly velvety, but it's kind of a bit sparkly and shiny. Apparently the Philodendron is more so. So yeah, excited to grow that one out, but over the moon with this one. So I will leave that somewhere. I now don't have a cover pot for it because it won't fit in there anymore. So we'll cross that bridge after the video when I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put it and what I'm going to put it in. But yes, I think that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really pleased with what I've achieved. I've got my Esmeraldense done, my Patriciae, which wasn't really a repot, but it definitely needed doing, and I'm so glad that I managed to see that, hopefully remedy the problem. And then also my Vitara folium is now all good, potted up in a very chunky mix, which hopefully it'll like. It's got a bit more room. So yeah, very much feeling like I'm getting my collection in a better place, ready for growing season 2025, which is, yeah, what I like to hear. That's very much where I want to be. I'm not going to be there, like there's so many jobs I need to do, but I think because I'm getting my big plants done, the video before this I did my Splendid, I did Dino not too long ago, that one's all good, so I feel like I'm making real progress for the upcoming year, so I'm really pleased to be where I am. Thank you very much for coming along with me. If you did enjoy this video, do give it a like, it really helps me out. And if you would like to see more of my channel, more of my houseplanty journey and the things I'm doing ready to kick off the season next year, please do hit that subscribe button. That's going to be it for now, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.